All right, let's dive in. We're about to step into a world that wasn't born from some grand divine plan, but from a divine accident. A place where all the rules you know are flipped upside down, and reality itself is designed to be, well, a little rough around the edges. This is the playground of the blind artisan.
And that one line, that tells you everything you need to know. Just forget every creation myth you've ever heard. This universe wasn't carefully spoken into existence. Nope, it was laughed into being. A cosmic joke that shattered the silence and left all of us to live among the pieces.
So you have to ask, right? If the whole universe is a mistake, who's the one who made it? To understand this brutal world, we've got to start at the very beginning and meet the creator himself, a being they call Sakalas. Yeah, he's known as the blind artisan and the fool, and trust me, he earned those titles. Picture a god with the clumsy fingers of a child, just playing with shards of broken glass. That's Sakalas. His act of creation wasn't some masterful stroke of genius. It was an act of profound, almost unbelievable divine clumsiness. And here are his three biggest, let's call them foundational screw-ups. First, the error. There was no divine word, just a laugh that literally broke everything, scattering the stars across the sky like shrapnel. Second, the shadow. In a moment of pure cosmic vanity, he saw his own reflection in the abyss and actually thought he was staring at the ultimate truth. And third, his motivation. Well, let's just say it wasn't love.
And there it is. That's the real reason. It's chilling, isn't it? Soklas didn't create life to nurture it or to love it. He built this grand playground for his own twisted artistic amusement, just to see if our struggle, our very blood, could paint something beautiful.
Okay, so a creator that flawed and that cruel, he's not going to design a world based on things like love and forgiveness, right? Of course not. Instead, he builds a moral code that's a perfect reflection of himself. And that brings us to the core philosophy of this whole playground: righteous sin. And this is where your brain has to do a complete 180. Righteous sin. In this cosmos, everything we've been taught to call a vice, pride, greed, wrath, you name it, is completely reframed. They aren't failures, they are the very pillars of what is considered holy. They are the engine that makes life and existence even possible. This right here, this explains everything. Life is meant to be a machine of constant conflict, of flesh and friction. That grinding, that struggle, that pain, what Soklas calls agonizing joy, that's what keeps the whole universe from seizing up. It's not a bug in the system, it's the entire point of the system. And just look at how this plays out in the afterlife. What they call the fool's heaven isn't a paradise. It's a horror show, a gilded cage of mindless, static praise for a god who isn't even listening. But our world, this world of rust and bone dust they call the living inferno, that is the workshop of the deed. It's the only place that actually matters, because it's where the friction happens. It's the only source of art and life and heat in an otherwise cold, dead cosmos. Of course, a system this precise needs enforcers. Soklas didn't just wind up the clock and walk away. Oh, no. He appointed governors to make absolutely sure his philosophy of righteous sin is followed to the letter. And this is the absolute key to understanding them. The laws of these red judges aren't about holding you back. This is not a list of thou shalt nots. No, these are divine commands. This is a list of thou musts, all designed to push creation to be more vibrant, more chaotic, and ultimately more alive. And here they are, the 7 deadly sins, totally repurposed as the pillars of holiness. I mean, look at divine wrath. Its holy mandate is to sharpen the world into a blade, just to make sure the spirit never gets soft and weak from peace. Or abyssal sloth. The command is literally to let your soul rot so it can become fertile soil for new and fascinating monstrosities. Every single sin has a divine purpose, and it's always about creating more friction, more life. So, we've got a fool for a god, a moral code that's completely backwards, and judges who command you to sin. What in the world does this mean for anyone actually living here? Well, this is where it stops being cosmic and gets intensely personal. And this is what it all boils down to. The entire universe exists just to ask you this one simple question. And notice, it's not a choice between good and evil, or right and wrong. It's a choice between the static, mindless oblivion of heaven or the painful, sharp, agonizing joy of vitality, nothingness, or a meaningful, difficult existence. This is the final thesis statement. This is the brutal, ultimate lesson of the blind artisan's world. If you strive for traditional sainthood, for peace, for quiet, you just become a ghost. You fade away. But to embrace that friction, to sin righteously, that's how you participate in creation. That is how you finally, truly become alive. So when you really think about it, the Creator's proclamation isn't just an introduction. It's a diagnosis. It's a declaration of your condition inside this grand, terrible experiment. Welcome. You were always here.